We put that thing right in front of
As the mayor indicated, it's 6 o'clock.
the.
We do have a quorum. We have Mr. Jake Gallagher with us, Vice President Frank Gonzalez, Treasurer Roy Edroy, Mayor Sherry Castillo. We're missing Mr. Dave Brewitt.
Yes.
We have our Executive Director, Mr. Ben Reed, our Attorney, Sylvia Rodriguez, our Assistant, Charlotte Jimenez Nelson. We're also joined by our City Manager, Henrietta Turner, Mrs. Henrietta Turner. Mr. Fred, could you lead us in invocation?
Yes, sir, I will. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for being with us as you always are, and for every other blessing that you bestow on our city and us. As always, we ask that you guide us, give us the things that we need to know so that we can do the best for the city and for the citizens of Floresville. We pray this in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, citizens' comment. Mr. and Mrs. Gleason, y'all want to say anything?
Not right now.
Okay. Let's go on to old business. CNA to approve meeting minutes for the regular meeting on August the 12th. CNA being consideration and action.
Did the council vote for the requirement on the bylaw?
Yes.
They did, they were approved.
It was an Evan.
Thank you.
We said Dave Brewitt, it's not this.
It's
Randy Brewitt.
Goes by 12. It's David Randy, yes.
Okay.
He goes by Randy,
Okay.
correct.
How you doing, guys?
How are you?
How you doing, ma'am?
Oh, hello, sir, how are you?
Doing fine.
Councilwoman,
Sherry,
how
how
are
you
you?
doing? I know we've been around. How you doing? How's it going?
Councilman?
Mr. Fred, how you doing, sir? Mr. Andrew? How you doing, sir? Doing great. How you doing, ma'am?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Is there any questions or discussion on the minutes? If not, can we entertain a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the minutes for, I believe it was August 12th, right?
Correct.
Yes, as presented.
Is there a
I second that.
Second by Castillo, motion by Gonzalez, second by Castillo. To approve as presented, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. How many is it? Oh, five? 5-0. Let's move on to the second part of our agenda, presentation and discussion. Item 2A, appreciation plaque for Mr. Scott Gleason. Okay.
So. So, so it's been like a long time in the talking, I guess. So as, I guess whenever I took over, not took over, but I was a part of the board the last 5 years or so, about 3 years into it, I think Scott came along and was nominated to be on the board, and man, he was so influential to like kind of some of my visions and what I thought the direction of town needed to go. He was never not vocal about what he believed.
Never not vocal.
Never not vocal, and he spoke his mind, and I think he made us a better board back then. So as I carry on and the board carries on, one thing I know that's coming up is the anniversary of his passing on the 25th. We just thought it'd be in a good realm to bring on, and we just wanted to honor what he did, not just for the FEDC, but for the city of Floresville. So it says Scott Ryan Gleason, in memory of your outstanding leadership to our community. So we just thought that he's just an amazing person, and we wanted to make sure that we let y'all know that.
It's really nice.
Let's get the whole board up here.
The whole board.
Come
Can
on.
y'all get up here?
Yeah. We'll get the middle, we'll get the whole board, because I know.
You may use your camera.
So, and we thought about it, just so you know,
No, I'll take a picture.
if you know, like, we talked about like, how he was in person, not just us, but like he was.
I'll take a picture.
son.
Yeah.
So we kind of picked out another tree.
Oh, he's taking a picture over here too.
Can you
So we
see
came
it?
up like that.
Or I got it.
Did he tell you about up trees?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Henrietta,
so
go
we
ahead.
thought that's pretty
He
neat.
wanted us to take out all the
Y'all get-
trees in
look,
our yard and
it's
just put up
sideways,
trees.
Yeah.
it's sideways, it's
Yeah.
nice.
It's a red.
That's very note you record.
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry, I always make things difficult.
Okay.
Henrietta, did you want me to use your phone?
No, you can send me
Go
one,
ahead.
you can send me one.
Here.
You good, you good.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to say Scott really took his place on this board with care. He researched everything.
Oh, yeah.
And he was very proud of being on this board and working with you guys.
Yeah, he just wanted us to have fine detail, and, you know, on the jokes aside, I can appreciate the new vehicle, because he's like, man, if we're gonna show our town off, we gotta show it off with class and who we are, because that's who we are as a town. And he just reminds us of every day when we think about who we are as a board and where we wanna go moving forward, and the impact he had on what he wanted to do. So we just wanna thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So,
We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your service all those years.
yeah.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah, we'll stay for a moment. Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Sir, you actually did a really good job. Oh,
Tired.
I'm gonna send him right now.
Nah, so I just want to thank the board for allowing us to do that, you know.
Anybody need a water?
Thank you so much. I'm sitting in chair right now.
Item 2B, FEDC bylaws update. Mr. Gonzalez, I know you presented to the council.
Yes, I presented our request to them. As you remember, we voted 5-0 to go ahead and make the change and to eliminate any limitations on terms. They all agreed and voted 5-0 to go ahead and accept. So it is a done deal as far as I know now. Administratively, when it gets on the actual bylaws, I guess we can hear from you if you have anything.
I need to note that we'll have the city secretary get you a signed sealed copy to Charlotte for you.
And I noticed that they have an item on their agenda Thursday to fill the vacancy that we have on there.
Yes.
Okay. Anything
That's all.
further, sir?
That's all, sir.
Mrs. Turner, would you like to give us an update on the IRS refund?
Well, I wish I
Checks in
had
the mail?
some kind of update, but I don't have it as of yet. We haven't received anything, and so I did give paperwork, and so I should be following up with a phone call, and I asked to get an agenda for next meeting. That we could do that along with, if I could, Mr. Chairman, be placed on your agenda to talk about the parking lots.
Also,
Yes, sir. That would be good.
you were talking about the parking lot
Yes, sir.
downtown?
Yes, sir, the downtown. But we should be finished by your next meeting, 100%. So if I can put in your agenda for presentation and to bring in the finances for that out.
Charlotte, you get that?
Yeah.
For our next meeting, yes, sir.
Anything further, Mrs. Turner?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Edrock, would you like to give us an update on the filming guidelines for the Film Friendly Texas?
Yes, make a presentation to the city council on the last meeting, and they approved it on a vote of 5-0. So we now certify city for filming.
Good.
We have 3 different buildings already that the owner has committed with me that they were allowed to take pictures of the inside of the buildings. And part of the people that be involved on this, they're going to be doing this more short advertising promotion, so they come and film for a week to promote some advertisement, whatever, but they involved on that, and then the full-length filming of movies that will be several months if we get anyone that will come in to do anything.
You know, one way we might want to kick this off is, Vin, what do you think about getting some old pictures from all the movies that have been filmed here?
So that's what we talked about, like maybe making a pamphlet. We were kind of talking about too, 'cause I think there was a total of 8 we could think of.
Yeah, with big names.
Yeah, so,
Right.
and some of them are
All
iconic.
big names.
Yeah, so we were thinking about just getting the 8 movies and starting with that, so then when we have the film friendly, we can put it out there when what was done here.
Right.
Would you clarify the 3 buildings that you mentioned? They volunteered them for filming, or what are the buildings for?
Well, the building, one of them is the interior of, 2 of them are the interior of the building, that they're very unique. So I contacted the owners and they say, yes, we agree to it, that we can take pictures and submit it to the database of the state.
Oh, I see, for the database, okay,
Right.
thank you.
And then from
That would be
there,
key.
they will, I told them too that whatever agreement you have with the filmmaker or advertising company between you and them, the state has some guidelines for that, and you can go by those things and come into an agreement. So the
Okay.
idea is to be friendly to them, and they got a budget just like we do also. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Roy, you've done a great job on this. Yes, sir.
Can I do that?
Yes.
It would be wise to take lots of pictures, the outside and the inside, especially like for Western movies or whatever. There's a lot of,
yeah.
buildings that you could partake in for the interior of the buildings. But not just a few, just a lot of them.
And I think the city was talking about, making sure they have the proper appropriate permits moving forward to become in one of the filming permits.
Yes, because we don't have anything like that right now, so if somebody came, so we're trying to put together some permits for the proper procedure of what we need to do. So
Like at the close streets and things like that.
So that we come up with like a package, so we're working on that.
Are there still permits involved in filming? Is that a?
We don't have anything right now, but we probably need to at least have, like a registry kind of thing, so that we know.
We need to draw something up.
Yeah, because Roy, Pleasant, I think was part of it, they filmed a couple commercials.
I'm doing that right, yeah, writing notes.
So that we can, think about permitting that, at least a registration, if you want to associate a fee, so that if somebody doing it and closing the streets and where they're gonna be operating, so, if they do something at night, nobody's calling the police department saying, hey, there's some
People
strange
running
lights or
around.
something like that, people running around, or, for Western, I think you mentioned, Councilman, shooting cats, so I think they're shooting with guns.
And we could give us some like ranchers, we talked about like taking a picture of their cattle, like, that little armors over there, things like that, so we know.
So the state of Texas does have a department who
Right.
will assist us, correct? Have
Right.
you been able to reach out to them to get
This is what
guidance?
I'm working with. So all the information comes from them, and it's called Texas Filming Commission, which is the governor is the one that be heavily involved on that to promote the state of Texas.
Thank you, Roy. You want to go on to item 2E, Mr. Idrak, financial overview?
Well, here we go. Yeah, well, this month we have a higher revenue on the tax than we did last month, a little bit more, so we're on track for the month of August, so we got one more month of September. So I see that more likely by the time we finish on the month of September, we will have a surplus of money. It will be probably $40,000-$50,000 more than we estimated on the budget. Next year might be a different story. Some of the things are slowing down. Sales are starting to drop, so therefore we might get less revenue from the tax. We'll see on that. This is all the information I'm getting from software else not related to this, but as part of my job on the other things that I do, we follow those things.
I think we're on an upturn for the future businesses we're working with. We're creating some new jobs in the town, so you got more people at the different restaurants that are opening. You'll see like with some of those. And then we did, of course, we have the new Taco Del Rey that we pack every day. So.
It seems like that's what I've heard.
Yeah, there's a project supposed to be going on in Mendoza, they're working to bring 200 trucks into that. I talked to someone and now they tell me that it's not exactly gonna work out. That's gonna be probably an issue of 50 or 25 new jobs. And then gradually go from there, but it's all depends on the production of oil and how much cement they get.
And a lot of that is decided externally, something we don't
Yeah,
have
we
control
don't
over.
have control over those things, it's just that the market turns, that's the way it goes, and we just have to play with it. Don't start hatching the eggs ahead of time.
All right, any questions regarding the financial overview? If not, let's move on to item 2F. Lodi Park,
Well, that park
Mrs.
update.
Nelson.
I just gave a brief breakdown of what we've paid thus far. The first one being what we paid the Parks and Rec. We had agreed to pay for those 2 benches as part of the Lodi, the expenses, correct. And then the city paid the balance of what they were requesting. I went ahead and ordered the remaining items, 2 grills, a bike rack, 4 trash receptacles, a tree bench, 2 8-foot tables, and 2 additional benches. And we have some items that are still pending, and I know Ben has gotten a bid or 2 for concrete work, for the pad site, metal canopy, and possibly additional lighting. So we've spent 8,000, close to 8,100 so far, and we still have a balance available for the current fiscal year that we are in.
So,
Yes, sir.
right now, where do we stand as far as getting there? Have we approved officially any expenditures, or we've done that already?
Yeah, we've already
Yeah,
approved. We
yes.
put that the last board
So
meeting.
we have started in something that's going to end up in what we saw in that picture that you have?
Correct.
Correct, so right now we have met with like a design build company that it will design it up to the city specs. So he has everything filled in and everything, and they're actually drawing up a model, not just for this part, but for the secondary part where they may put a swing set in the new fiscal year. So, have like a 3D model and stuff they can look at. So we're hoping to have that here this week. And so.
So when do we, and again, we're just guessing, we're not good guess, when do we see what we planned or looked at a couple of weeks ago?
I was hoping to have it today, but some things got
No,
delayed.
but I mean, when it's a done deal.
Oh, I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the month.
There is a question in my mind, I've been driving through there, and it seems like one of the neighbors on the back where that little enclave is, has a driveway through.
He
there.
does, so we've talked to Henrietta, and the city's been by to talk to him, let him know that that's gonna be closed up. And there's like an older vehicle that'll be moved off in the porta potty, and the city's been kind enough that's gonna work with us on the site prep. As you can see, not just the land towards the fence, there's been some buildup of sand and dirt over the years, so we're
Is
gonna
that
level
gonna
it.
cause any problems, or he has some other way to get out of that?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I think just over the years, he made that.
Well, yeah, it happens, you know, work. You call those, what do you call those, land grabbers, or whatever?
Yeah. Squatters, yeah.
Maybe that might be an opportunity to rededicate that park with all the improvements.
Yeah,
we've
I
done.
know.
What is it called?
Lodi?
Lodi Park.
Lodi Park?
Is that the one by the fruit plant?
No.
By the
It was
basketball court.
Cantarana.
Oh, that's Toronto.
By the basketball.
But basketball court.
Oh, you're doing the basketball court.
So-
It's a little sleeve
Yeah.
pocket over there that the city owns a piece of property. It's
In a
like
little
that court, and then it goes like a little, I don't know, like
In Rhode Island, we would call that an enclave.
Yeah, anyway, there's a little pocket park, there's a little thing right there, the city on the property, so.
So when he presents it to his board and they approve it, then I'm gonna bring it to council so that you all can see, the improvement in the city park.
And we chose that area, just so people know, we chose there because when we did the survey of our parks with M&S, it was the one park that didn't have any kind of cover, any kind of barbecue pit, any kind of benches.
There's nothing there.
So,
That part has been neglected for years and years and years.
so we did a thing with the school and with the assistance some other people ordered, we put some benches in there. And they came and they painted the backboards and then we painted courts on there and everything. It's really nice right now. And in the city, y'all redid the bathrooms, and so we're working on someone that hit the corner, working on getting that bent out so that we can put some locks on there. Talked to the chief already, so we can put some deadbolts on the locks in the next phase. So as they go around, they lock like the skate park and the basketball courts at Watts. They can lock those doors as well.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes, sir.
Cover this with the councilman here. Mr. Councilman?
Yes.
We talked to the Jimenez, they own quite a bit of the land across the road from where we're talking about now.
Yes.
And was hoping to maybe get them to donate some of that land. They said they wouldn't. So we wanted to expand if at all feasible, the park all the way back to where the Lodi School was.
Okay.
But it wouldn't work that way. They didn't want to do it.
Oh, did you try maybe purchasing it?
Say again?
Maybe purchasing it?
Well, I really thought that donating, and we would kind of call it maybe something along the lines of Benito Jimenez Memorial Park. But I think there's some complications there. They've sold some of the land, and I guess they don't want to infringe on those people's.
Okay.
But anyway, I wanted you to know, we tried to do that too.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's go to item PA, consideration and action to approve
Do you want to
bond.
move up?
You can do a motion.
Okay, we can do that. Let's go to item, if there's no objection, let's go to item 3I. Consideration and action to approve amended facade grant for Sylvia's Hair Salon. And we have the owner of the salon, Sylvia herself here.
So I can speak on it.
Hello, everybody. Sylvia.
So,
We're all customers.
so you'll see in I back in here. Yes.
Yes.
So as you can see, one of the, just being on the board the past few years, and talking to Sylvia and talking to councilmen over the years, and as the term went through a while back, with Tommy, he was trying to get some things done and fell through, and then as Johnny came on with him in and out, some of the things we had approved in the past, we had approved a signage grant, but not understanding the overall grant and what it entails. So the overall grant is a facade and signage grant. So in the past, historically, as in before, this is one of those last ones I wanted to tie up. That's when I came on and took over the job. So you can see the before and after photos. And I think before we do any kind of signage, we need to make sure we took care of the facade part of this. You can see he did this back in 12 of 18. It's not in there right now, but I have the original copy. So wanted to see if we could amend that. We made a motion back then to approve up to 50% of the current bid of the sign, but as we did with the Jansky, with the lodges, and as we've done with here currently with the White House Cafe, something that they did the projects beforehand, but we were just trying to get those done so when we move forward, everybody knows moving forward, we have to come in front of the board and present and get that approved moving forward. And so, as you can see, the building, you can see the front part of the facade where they put in the 7 windows, the 2 doors, and part of the facade, it talks about porches and that. So on the second page, brought in the invoice, the money that they paid. So we looked over and measured the square footage of the facade where it goes on, correct me if I'm wrong, it's, what street on the corner right there? It's BN7. The facade is almost 50% of the building. So you can see the exterior lighting that was put in to light right there on 7th B Street, and then the lighting on the front of the doors. So we're just asking to amend the motion from the signage to facade, and so we can get that taken care of and for what they've already put in for the new building.
And are we approving it for a specific amount?
That's up to the board, and
What's the amount?
the amount is, we do 50% of what they put into it. So right now they put in a current 18,850. So normally we go up to 50%, 15,000. So to be the reimbursement of 7,500.
So not to exceed a certain.
You not to exceed 7,500. We can't exceed anything more than 50% of 15,000. So, as I was instructed to relook at this application that we have when we did our budget, and we went from like 30 to 40 now to 50,000 this next year. I want to make sure that we set the standards and we tie up some of these loose ends in the past and move forward.
Okay, well, we wouldn't amend the motion, we'd create a new.
Create a new motion,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, I was gonna ask the attorney, we're gonna do the other one, do we have to, because it's an open signage thing, would we have to make a motion to change it from signage to facade?
Yeah, or you can make a motion, or do we have the same members here to rescind
No.
that motion?
No, we don't.
Yeah, then you need a new motion.
Yeah, okay. That's why I want to get the advice of Sylvia on it.
A new motion.
So the motion would be for us to approve the request not to exceed 7,500.
Yes, sir.
But the reimbursement for the
Yes, sir.
facade.
Reimbursement, okay. I still move.
Okay.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Mayor Castillo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Let's go back to item 3A. Consideration and action to approve sponsorship of the Old Time Christmas Downtown Shopping. Mr. Reed?
Okay. So, documentation, right? So if we go over to 3A, this is like a segue, right? So we're gonna go from 3A to 3B. If we can kind of talk about them both back and forth, if that's okay with you, President? Okay. So, yeah. So, Henrietta, you can jump in anytime you want. So we had a meeting in the past, and in the past, this is nothing more than I've heard the board loud and clear, we're gonna do things towards marketing, right? There's events that they have that are tied to tourism. Well, this isn't tied to tourism, this is tied to marketing. So in the past, we've had the Chamber of Commerce had come in and been sponsors of this event. So we met with them the other day, and it's hard to be a sponsor when you don't have a dog in the fight, so you don't have any money to put towards it. So talked to the paper, and this is something they've done now for, I don't think they have an annual thing, but they've done it for many years now. And last year, what we did during the downtown Christmas is we donated, I think, $1,000. Was it $1,000 or
It was $1,000 for your, the.
decoration of windows.
board And things such as that.
For prizes?
For prizes. So,
It didn't go very well because the feedback we got was that a lot of people didn't know what was happening. So we met with Worcester News
Mhm.
first, and then we met with the chamber. I'm gonna let you talk to the chamber, I'm gonna talk about that.
No.
Okay, but one of the things we mentioned that both of them was actually, Mrs. Castillo, yours in the parade.
yes.
We know it's really, really important.
So that's what we were bringing up
We
to
gotta work
them.
our way up to this, though, we're not ready yet.
We're not ready for the
Christmas
parade.
parade?
We're not ready. Just
We're
stay
gonna
right
postpone
your
that for
way.
another year.
We're not ready, but
Why aren't we ready?
we're not ready because I don't think there's enough time to tell people, and some people, like the peanut festival, those kind of people have already committed for December. They're already away, and so that's kind of.
But people, they'll rig something to come on the parade and make it happen.
Well,
So-
that's one of the challenges. One of the challenges that we had was actually selling on a date. That was the first challenge that we had, was selling on a date. Because Worcester News, I know they're not necessarily the forefront of it, but they want to do like a nighttime shopping kind of thing, get people out to come shop. And so that was a date they do, and I think it has something to do a little bit with small businesses and American Express and it's the night that you come and shop. So they picked the date, what was that, December?
6th.
December 6th.
Yeah, Friday, December 6th.
So that's early enough, and so we figured we could do the tree lighting do our thing. The chamber had other ideas in reference to that, but what we finally got them to understand was that what the focus is gonna be for people to come downtown, to shop downtown, we're trying to focus on downtown.
So what me and Henry learned is when we went to Retail Live, is we have to increase our footprint of downtown. So when they ask for numbers of these specialty chocolate shops or these specialty shops, things that go into our buildings downtown, the first thing they're asking for our footprint. Well, if we don't increase our footprint and show the business that we have, so kind of what we thought of, or what I brought to the table is I thought of three different corridors. So we talked about like we call a downtown corridor. Anything this side of 181 would be considered like our downtown corridor. So businesses, anything on the highway would be our 181 corridor. And then you have what we call the people that have business from home, who support our economic growth because we try to grow those businesses so they can have a storefront. And so moving that direction, we helped last year with that. And we were talking about the parade and how we want to do it. But one thing, what I've learned is if you want something done right, you have to have many months in planning and do it right. And right now, I can speak this, just my own opinion, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the FEDC, but I could do that, is I don't think the chamber's in a spot where they can help put on an event like that, because they just got 12 new members like 2 weeks ago. They don't have the organization and stuff to do that at this time.
They do not have the leadership to do that. They're really too new, and they do not have the leadership to do that. Now, the city, which you don't know yet, but the city's gonna be working on sponsoring some things with the school and the band, and so we wanna get on the band's calendar to have them come into March and Parade. What is a parade without a band?
Yeah.
I know, we need a band.
Yeah, I've got an input. I guess what most of us were here when we first did the first parades, when the colonel was here. I mean, it was a success, and we've done it in a very short time. You know, but the thing is, everybody's always willing to, you know, get involved with something, even if we start today. I'd say start today. Another thing that I had brought up from last year for the Christmas, you know, for everyone decorating their businesses, I think the city of Floresville is the city of Floresville. Should be everybody, get everybody in town, Squeaks, Sylvia's, everybody in the downtown area, everybody, all the businesses. That way, the city of Floresville is involved, not just the downtown area or a certain area.
And that's what we want to.
Everybody
That's
involved.
what we want to do this side of 181. So we can start with this side of 181. So you got Sylvia's. I think we have the Christian bookstore by Deason's. That's right off the beating path. You have Squeaks. You have like Martha's and Martha's and all that.
But the more people you get involved, the better the turnout's going to be, and that way nobody feels like they're being left out. You know.
So we talked about
small business or big business.
So we thought about growing it a small and a steady way where we don't overgrow. So right now, our biggest growth last year was what? The tree, right? We went from a Charlie Brown tree to a big old 26-foot tree. Now we're going to take that tree and we're going to do $6,000 worth of decorations to that tree, and it's going to look amazing. So Charlotte's been on top of that, working with the chamber as we had some of those funds left over from last Christmas, and then we brought in a company, which we'll update later, to decorate our downtown and decorate our downtown businesses with lights, as businesses want to be a part of that. So,
I got another
so
thing. Quick idea.
The shopping thing was to let's increase our footprint, which we'll talk about in B, to let people know what shops we have. I want to call the downtown corridor, and then we started with the tree. Let's start with the lights and the trees, like we used to do with the colonel and stuff in the past. And then after we do that next year, let's bring the parade on, because we're not trying to do the tree, we're not trying to do the decorations. If you look at nothing bad about the county, but the county decorations, I mean, I haven't seen a wood decoration pattern like that in a while. So we're talking about some nicer yard decorations, because one thing that I really enjoyed about last year, just personally, and I think can help our town, is I bet you everyone went down and took a picture by the tree, and I saw thousands of photos on Facebook. But imagine then you have decorations of big Christmas red balls, and then they have packages like big, and you make downtown really look as a destination place to go during the holidays. Because I don't want our shoppers and I don't want our citizens going and saying, oh, we got to drive to Green or Fredericksburg. I want them to say, you know what, be Floresville. It has just as important as that.
That's good.
What is a shopping concept? I'm trying to grasp
So the
that
shopping
because
concept,
There's, when I go shopping for Christmas, it's into real stores. Downtown, all we have are businesses.
so we gotta promote
Where do you
our.
go shopping?
She go to-
I know.
So, no, so, she says,
Get my
Sylvia, so
hair done.
you have heart like mine. We have the home store that just
Oh, that's right,
opened.
you do have boutique.
Yeah, it's a boutiques, we have the home store that just opened up.
Yeah, that's
So
really
that's a
nice.
really nice place that Shirley has. She just bought her building downtown and is investing in our downtown. I think you look at Trujillo's here in the belt shop. I mean, I go get my boots there, so I was talking to him about, you know, he can display going into his store and the type of belts he makes. I mean, I'm never gonna buy a belt at Walmart again because I didn't realize you can make a leather belt and I ain't gotta worry about breaking on me. So I think of stores like them, and then even the Wilson County News. You look at them, all the home mom and pop shops they have, right? So if you go in there, they sell like Young Living and honey and like different kinds of spices.
So when
So
do
we
they-
need to show these people.
So we can get people to go into those shops. One of the things, rather than having a decorating contest, we give away $2,000 or whatever.
Well, you can still do that.
No, what we wanna
But-
do is we wanna, if you go in, you fill in a punch card, you go into so many spaces, and you can
That's
come
the-
in, and then you can get a prize, and the prize would be a gift certificate at this Sylvia's Boutique, or a gift certificate at this, that, and the other. So that way, you know, people will show up, you have not just a 10% discount, but to say,
So one
here's
thing, y'all-
$25, go shop.
One thing
She's
I've heard a lot of times, we've
$25
talked
today.
about for years as a board is how to revitalize downtown. Well, if we're not gonna put marketing and economic growth projects in the downtown, why would you wanna open a business downtown? You have to do a little bit different than you do with 181. So we have to support different types of events to drive people. So like you, people don't know all the different shops. I mean, I've been here back home 5 years and grew up here, and I didn't even know about some of these places until I got here and the things you can do. So, I mean, if you look at like Mr. Lejas, they bought the building behind Pat Brown, so they want to do some things in that one. And then you look at Alan Carwell, always going to come in and do the coffee shop, and if you haven't gone by there and looked in the peak, then it's a totally different.
I mean, back again when you were talking about the ornaments, why not go to every business and say, well, you know what, I'm gonna design my ornament or whatever, I wanna donate mine, might be a $500 ornament, a $100 one, or whatever, so
Put
that
their
way,
logo on it.
that way you know that you're taking pride in what you're putting up there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the advertising, I know, Council, you can't see it, but the advertising that we want to run in the Wilson
Yeah.
News will be, and all those businesses that participate, those that want to be able to do it.
So this is last year's flyer.
We can put it together.
So as coming on a title sponsor, we talked to Pam at Wilson County News, and she worked the thing with us, because one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna help things as it grows, but I'm not gonna overpay as we go. So they run a 2-week ad campaign of all the businesses. So right now, they're getting all the businesses, and not just us being a part of it, the ones that pay to be listed. If we come on and be a part of this, the ones that can't afford it, we can list them on the side, right? So this sponsor will not just help the ones that are doing like the colored ad, but help the people the ones that are smaller that can't do that as well, hopefully. So we're still in talks and doing that. So they run a 2-week ad, it runs $250 a week, and then they would have here at the bottom the Economic Development Corporation as one of the title sponsors of it.
How many empty buildings do we have downtown?
Currently, probably eight that are available, but then you got the Cox, you have the Carl Hall, you have the 3 right there, then the one next to Mr. Lejas, so probably, yeah. And then we have the one next to, we found out the other day, we were doing the parking lot, which had helped us with the one by the hardware store. We're back in the day when the FEDC kind of revamped downtown the first time, they just painted the windows right there, that's a building available. We found out that's just an empty building that they want to do something with. So, yeah, about 8 empty buildings currently, and lots as well, not just buildings, but look how Tally turned that vacant building into Tally Benefits. So by Intrepid, you have a vacant lot over there that can be built up, and then we have the lot over there by Fleer's Insurance that can be built up as well. So you currently have maybe more. So you have to put those answers in advance.
By Fleer.
What?
Insurance. Back here.
Who owns it? Tell me what else. It's on my desk. The man that had it passed away, and there's like Munoz. So he has, and I've been in contact. So I guess there's the brother that got it passed away, and the one brother that wasn't part of it. But then you have an ex-wife and 2 sisters, and the ex-wife has multiple kids. So we're working on trying to figure all that web right now, and what we can do to use some buildings like that in the future.
Okay, Ben, let's so get back to the.
Yes,
the
so
action
right now, let's
item.
get back to, so the action item is to just get your support to become the sponsor of the downtown Christmas, because I think that's one thing we want to do, is we want to market our economic growth and showing that support for the old-time Christmas night shopping, late night.
How
and
much
that-
is it gonna cost?
$500.
An item, what item is that, 3A?
3A. So if I could have a motion.
Before we go into all of these here, I have couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I understand that we're doing this under the promotional aspects of our expenditures.
Yes, sir.
And the only legal, and here, Sylvia, correct me if I'm wrong, the only limit officially that we have is that we can't spend any more than 10% of our income per year.
That's correct.
But it also has some trailer types of explanations there. For example, whatever it is we do, and I think we're doing it here, we must advertise or publicize the city for the purpose of developing new and expanded business enterprises. It's not just about helping businesses that are doing the business now, but in some way attract people to that process that will bring more businesses or enterprises to us. I think as long, I saw the peanut thing, you know, and I think that does a good job of that. And maybe we need to be concerned, you know, that we do that. It's minimal amount of monies, but still though, you know, I think it requires two things. One, that it advertises, but also that it deals specifically with bringing enterprise or business enterprises into town.